Thank you so much for joining. We're super delighted today to have Jonathan Dickerson from Clockwise Tees here with us today. Jonathan, welcome.
Hey, everybody.
Jonathan is going to walk us through a little bit about his philosophy on customer service and how awesome customer service can actually be a cost-effective way to build a brand and increase loyalty. Feel free to connect with us today in various ways. You can interact with us during this webinar. First off, you can send us a tweet during and after the webinar, and please mention us so we can get all your questions down. You can also use the hashtag #CustServedWins. We'll then open the floor up for some Q&A after we speak with Jonathan so that we can get all your burning questions in. If you can't make it through the whole thing with us, don't worry, we'll send you a copy after the webinar. Here is the Salesforce.com Safe Harbor statement. You can also find this on our website for your reading pleasure if you can't go to sleep tonight. But basically what this is saying is that any purchasing decisions that you make should be made based on currently available technology. So here's the agenda for today's webinar. I'd like to give everyone a high-level overview of what Desk.com is, and Jonathan will tell everyone about Clockwise Tees and their unique philosophy on customer service. And lastly, what that connection is between customer service and branding. And don't forget, we have a live Q&A at the end of this webinar, so feel free to tweet or enter all your questions in the chat box. Like I mentioned before, we are super excited to have Jonathan Dickerson from Clockwise Tees here with us today. He is the marketing director who is also responsible for the customer experience. Welcome again, Jonathan.
Hello.
So before we dive into the Clockwise Tees story, let me set the context up a little bit and talk a little bit about why awesome customer service is so important for today. Today, customers expect this connected, personalized experience across your website, the mobile apps that you have built for your company, your store, and every touch point they have with you. Let's say if my iPhone breaks and I call AT&T, I better hope that AT&T will know exactly what model of my iPhone is and have a replacement plan ready for me. And because as customers, our expectations have changed and we expect our experience with companies to be this seamless and fast experience, this makes it extremely important for companies to have that right technology or process in place to deliver. All of this is especially important for SMBs because they've worked so hard to acquire each and every customer. They just simply can't afford to lose any of them. The key is that small businesses really want to connect with their customers, and they really want to hear from their customers. And this is why we offer a service solution for small businesses to provide quality customer service wherever their customers are. Desk.com is an all-in-one customer service application specifically designed for the needs of small businesses. It is extremely quick and easy to get set up because everything comes right out of the box. It enables small businesses to support their customers from all different channels regardless of where these customers or requests are coming from, like email and social or from their very own website. It really doesn't matter where your customers are. You can manage all of your support cases and make sure that your customer requests are not slipping through the cracks. We expect our small businesses to grow rapidly, so we've designed this application to make it easy and easily integrated with Salesforce and other API partners. And we know that with this, we can allow our small businesses to scale and grow. So to wrap this up, you can also resolve cases on the go when you're on your mobile device too. And what's great is that the Desk.com customers see the value of switching to Desk.com almost immediately. We're helping them by reducing their support cost, allowing them to close cases faster, and overall increase their agent productivity. And this ultimately results in the market increase in customer satisfaction, at 36%. That's a huge jump, so that your customers can be happy, they can stay loyal with you, and continue to buy from you. If you're interested in reading the survey, there's a bit.ly link at the top. Feel free to visit this and download the survey at the end of this webinar. So now that we have a high-level understanding of the value that Desk.com provides, let me invite Jonathan to the discussion on his view on customer service and how it connects to branding. to start, Jonathan, what is your role at the company?
My official title is Marketing Director, but actually I'm a catch-all for all types of mid-level management positions. So I was brought on by the owner of the company to handle marketing. That was my background. But he had quickly learned about some other things that I had done in my career, so he made me a human resources agent. He had me doing client service stuff, kind of building out their Salesforce. So I really do a lot at the company, but I've kept the title Marketing Director because it's my favorite title of all the available ones.
Nice. So it sounds like you just wear many hats. It's just the nature of a startup.
Yeah, we're a small business, so we have a lot of people filling a lot of different roles.
And can you tell me a little bit about what Clockwise Tees does?
Yeah, we are an apparel printing company. We started out almost 10 years ago. The owner of the company was going to Pitt University for business, and he started to get very excited about the things he was learning. So very shortly into his college time, he bought a screen printing press and just started making T-shirts for people on campus, local businesses, his friends, family. That started out in his parents' basement, and then it's grown now to the company that it is, which is a really large-scale production operation located in a technology park in Pittsburgh. We have clients anywhere from professional sports teams and their athletes, bands that are touring all over the world, museums. The picture that's shown on the slide is some work that we did for the Andy Warhol Museum in Pittsburgh. And then we have a lot of just local people who are looking to get shirts made for special events or their own personal projects.
Nice. So what do you think is one of the core differentiators? Do you think it's the brand and the vision of your owner? Can you talk a little bit about what your brand means to you and your customers?
Sure. One thing that we've noticed is a lot of screen printing operations are viewed as maybe just a couple guys working in a garage somewhere, just getting dirty with ink. And a lot of people really take pride in that aspect of it. But that's sort of a limited way to brand yourself if you're going to grow and attract more clients, especially outside of your city. So that's where the owner started, but he quickly realized that he wanted to have something that was a little more technologically savvy, something that could attract larger clients, not only grow our operations to a scale where we could handle bigger orders, but also where we would attract the clients that we really wanted, which are fashion brands, museums, people that have an interest in the artistry of screen printing.
Mm-hmm. And how do you keep your customers engaged, and how does the vision of this whole brand tie into customer service?
Well, one thing that he learned very early on as a guy by himself running a small business was that personal interaction is really what keeps people coming back. So he really believes in the handshake, the face-to-face meeting, the follow-up after the sale, letting people know how their order is going. If somebody would place an order with us, it might be a few days to a couple weeks until they get their order. He wants to keep that connection engaged while people are waiting. And he got a lot of really good feedback early on about his, what we would consider just good old-fashioned business ethics. Then as he grew the company and started to expand outside of the city of Pittsburgh, he wanted to somehow tap into the good old-fashioned business etiquette, but grow that in a way that would work not only all over the country, but also internationally. And that's where our more sophisticated customer service program came in. He realized he couldn't do it all on his own, that he had to put some systems and structure in place, and then try to find a way to use technology to make the clients feel really good about doing business with us and very connected with us, even though we can't be face-to-face in front of every client.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So that's actually a pretty good transition. Can you paint the picture for me how business operations looked before technology came into play?
Sure. In the early days, really one of our only ways of keeping track of things was looking at his cell phone to see who he had called, what text messages he had, maybe combing through some emails to try to follow up on past orders. And he started putting some things in place to manage it. We had an inventory, an invoicing and accounting program called FreshBooks that we were using to track pretty much all of our business for several years. Then we opted into the Gmail business apps and started trying to use Gmail as our main way of communicating with clients and keeping track of everything, especially as our team grew. Having everybody on the same corporate email seemed like a really great idea, and it still is. But everything was just kind of, the way I could describe it best was communication was coming from all different angles. And then as we grew our team, it was coming to various people throughout our organization. And if you could picture a wall or a table with maybe 10 different colors of Post-it notes, all with different handwriting on them, that's kind of where we stood in terms of how we were managing our customer service. Each person, had their own color and their own handwriting, and then we're trying to compare notes and swap information. There was really no central way for us to organize everything. We were doing our best, but it was very disjointed and disorganized.
Mm-hmm. So why didn't you guys I know you guys had a Gmail account and there are other Google services that were free. Were they not helpful in helping you organize kind of the support center to start?
They were. And where we came from, when we first started out, it was a really big leap for us to be on Google Business Apps, and we were just eating it up. We were using everything. But we realized that very quickly we were going to have to grow out of that and into something that was going to house even what we were using for Google a little bit better. Because there was just no way for us to, for instance, see all of the communication that was coming in from our various channels, whether it be phone, Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, chat. We need somewhere to house all of that. And another problem that we had with the Gmail was that we were using chat internally to talk about things that were going on with clients a lot. It wasn't easy for us to go back and comb through our chat records or each other's chat records to see some of the details that were discussed to move a project along. The same thing happens when you have an email and you would put, you try to CC all of the involved parties on it, and then maybe one person in your team forgets to hit reply all. You've now lost probably some key components to that conversation about that client. So what was happening was things just kept falling through the cracks because we didn't have any way to join everything together.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So now that you have Desk.com set up, let's talk a little bit about how our application is helping you build a brand kind of through this customer service experience. A couple of things that we'll go over today. The first is the self-support center, and really the key here is having a website so that customers can search for answers to their questions on their own whenever they want. So these are FAQs that come up a lot. And then the second piece is the internal knowledge base, really just ensuring every customer response is accurate and consistent with the same brand voice. And then lastly, agent productivity tools that are, Jonathan, enabling your agents to work super, super fast.
Okay.
So to start, let's talk a little bit about delivering 27 customer service across the globe. I know your customers are all across the globe and they operate in different time zones. So how does the support center help you cater to the needs of all of these customers?
Well, another thing that we were kind of beholden to was that customers could really only get answers while we were online, which it's Eastern time, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. If we happened to be around our computers or near the phone anytime before and after that, we would try to take care of things. But most of the time, customers would have to wait until the next day to find out, or if it was on a Friday, maybe wait until Monday to find out the answer to their question. Along with that, we realized that clients were asking a lot of the same questions. And being a smaller company that had started up from just one person running it, we had never put together a frequently asked questions section to our website. It was a major admission, and we know that that's something that pretty much everybody has on their website. We didn't have it, so we started working on putting that together. Around the same time, we were looking for a very cohesive and all-encompassing customer service support product. And that was a big selling point for Desk. We could build out our self-support center to be our frequently asked questions site. We could constantly update it, and it also gave our clients a place to go and get the information that they're asking for the most whenever they want to. By implementing that, we noticed a lot of communication not even coming through to us. A lot of people, before they would ask for a quote or place their order, would have a lot of questions to ask and be answering the same ones over and over again. And still, because we were using Gmail and we didn't have an FAQ section, we were copying and pasting common responses from old emails. So you could imagine, we get a question about a certain type of ink. We put that in the search box in Gmail, try to find an email where we had already answered that, copy, paste it in the email, send it back. It was wasting a lot of time for our customer support agents, and it was also wasting time for the clients. So we've already seen an improved drop in communication on a lot of those questions just because we made it available for them to find them at their own time and their own leisure.
Yeah, that's what a lot of our clients or our customers also see the value here too. Is not only are we allowing customers to be happy by allowing them to help themselves, but this is also to help decrease the amount of calls and inquiries that come in to an agent's queue. So these are just kind of the benefits for the self-support center.
Yeah, and we've absolutely seen that.
Cool. So then the next part is an internal knowledge base. For those of you on the phone who are not familiar with this concept, an internal knowledge base is a centralized library so that your agents can grab answers from this repository so that every interaction with the customer is consistent and accurate. So Jonathan, can you tell us a little bit about your internal knowledge base and how you're using it as a playbook internally?
Sure. Using the support center as our base, we were able to develop customized answers for each channel that somebody might contact us. One of the great things about Desk.com is that you have the ability to build these macros and use them for quick responses to clients. So we would have, for instance, a question about what is the maximum size that we could print on a particular T-shirt. Since we have an answer already written out in long form, we're able to just take that and use it as the base for building macros. And what's really great is you can customize it for every channel. So if it comes through, that question would come through in an email, you could send them the longer response. If it comes through on Twitter where you have a character limit, we have a shorter response that then it answers it quickly and then also sends them to our email at our support center so we can continue the conversation.
Nice. And so you notice that your agents are a lot more productive and they're spending less time really copy and pasting from these docs that initially you had before implementing Desk.com?
Yeah, absolutely. It totally got rid of the need to do that copy-paste thing. And honestly, I'm sitting here and I'm talking to other business people, and it sounds almost embarrassingly funny saying that we were copying and pasting responses. It's one of those things now that we're doing it. It's like, why didn't we do this way sooner?
Right. It's just you didn't know it was out there, and so
Right.
The only truth you had was the copy and paste document.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving on to productivity tools, in addition to macros, what are some of the other tools that you love using? I know case assignment is something that you're very passionate about. Can you tell us a little bit about that functionality?
Yeah, what's great about the case assignment is as we're watching communication come through on the Desk.com dashboard, the internal dashboard, if something comes through to one of our client service agents, that person, let's say it's a question about a really technical aspect of printing that they know that somebody else on the production floor would have a better answer for. She can immediately click case assigned to our production agent, and then it'll show up for them to take care of. One thing that we've been doing in the past was kind of buying time. So, for instance, we'd get our message, we'd ask this technical question, and then we'd say, we're going to check on that for you. Let's send it off to this person. We're going to bring them in on the communication too. Hey, production person, can you go ahead and answer this person's question? We realized we didn't have to do that. If a person makes initial contact with us, they really just want an answer. They don't want to know that we're trying to find an answer, that we're connecting several people to get to the answer. They just want the answer. So case assignment allows us to get whatever the issue is to the right person very, very quickly so that they can get a quicker answer. And then that, in terms of sales, if it's, if we're doing something pre-production, it's usually involving sales. It gets the sales closed quicker because we're resolving all of these questions the clients have before they decide to do business with us.
Mm-hmm. And I know as an SMB, it's extremely important for you to be engaging with your customers via the social sphere. So what happens when you get a bad comment? Do you have any examples of, let's say, customers were not happy about their shipment and they broadcast it on your social channel? Like, how did you turn that experience around and make it positive for them?
Well, I use this as well. I had a situation a while back. I'll speak from experience, then I'll explain what happens with some of our clients. I was on the road and I had a problem with my rental car and the local agency. I was really refusing to take care of it. So I just went to that company's corporate account and said, hey, here's my situation. I tweeted at them, and the response to get it taken care of was so fast. And I think a lot of people realize, companies and businesses realize that once something hits the internet where it can be viewed publicly, it can take off very, very quickly. We've seen that happen with airlines this year. There was something this morning about a guy that tweeted while he was trying to get onto his plane and his kids couldn't get on. And, I don't know what the airline was, but that, now they're doing damage control about the way it was handled. So we want to be able, we hope to have no problems, but everybody knows you're going to have issues. And the clients will sometimes be disappointed in something, even if it wasn't your fault. We want to be able to address those very, very quickly and really close the book on it and make sure they're happy as soon as we can. So what's great about Desk is that we can look at all those interactions in our dashboard. So the old way of doing business for us was I'd be sitting at my computer, I would have a Gmail tab open. I would have Facebook Live. I would have Twitter Live, looking for notifications, listening for that little ding to let me know that there was an interaction on our Facebook feed. And then I would look at that and say, okay, well, was this a good comment? Was it somebody just liking a status, whatever? Now with the Desk.com dashboard, we can see communication as it happens live on social media in the same window as all of our email and all of our other communication. And what's great is that allows us to get things a lot quicker. So client has an issue. We can address it very quickly. What we usually try to do is address it via social media and then give them our personal email that they can contact us and we continue the discussion in email. That way it doesn't clutter up the feed too much, and also it minimizes the amount of any potential negative feedback that you might see on social media. Something happened the other day that I thought was very interesting. It wasn't so much a negative thing, but somebody in the Pittsburgh area tweeted at us and our competitor and said, I need a new quote. We got the tweet it was about 11 o'clock. We saw it immediately because it was in our dashboard. So we responded with, hey, we've made it very easy to help you out. Here's a link to our quote form. We're looking forward to doing business with you. There's just something like that. The competitor didn't get back to them until about 6 hours later. I would attribute a lot of that to just having that visibility right there in front of us while we're working all day. So that's a way that it worked in a positive way. We got to the customer first because we saw the message first because it was on our Desk.com dashboard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think speed is very important here, right? Like whoever can get to the customer first is who the customer is going to remember, and that's that positive customer experience.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Jonathan, I had such a great time chatting with you. I know I was firing a lot of questions at you, so let's try to open the floor up for some Q&A session so that our audience can also get a chance to learn from you. We have a case study that you all can check out. And Jonathan, if someone wants to learn more about Clockwise Tees, where should they go?
They can go to clockwisetees.com.
Perfect. So let me look to see if there are any questions from anyone. We do have one here on pricing. What is the pricing like for Desk?
And it depends on your plan. One thing that we liked about it was we could add on as many agents as we needed, and also customize how much we thought our agents would be using it. So our current plan now, we have 3 full-time agents and then 1 flex agent. The flex agent is somebody in production who isn't in front of their computer during regular business hours. the entire time. They're over there working on the production floor. They go back in, they check in with their computer, see if there's any messages and anything like that. So they don't actually need to be on desk as much as our 3 full-time agents. That was really good for us because being able to opt in to flex hours made the plan even more affordable instead of having to pay for that 4th person that we knew wasn't going to be using it a lot, but really did need to use it at some point. When we looked at what we were spending in terms of payroll and even our productivity, knowing that we were wasting time with a lot of kind of nuisance type interactions that could take care of themselves or we could take care of them quickly, we saw the return on investment from Desk to be really, really good. But what I would recommend, and this is probably more direction from Kira, is check out Desk.com. It has a really good pricing structure you can see. And even before we decided to go with Desk, we worked with a couple agents from Desk. They were awesome. They answered all of our questions. They give you their personal email, and they can help you find out what the right plan is. I had a lot of emails with Desk and then a couple phone calls, and I had a lot of stupid questions. But they were really good to me and helped us pick the right plan. And I never felt like I was being upsold. It was really, I described what we need, and then they said, well, this is the one for you, and this actually would probably be better for you financially to go with the flex agent instead of the full-time. It saved us a little money.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got kind of the net here is that we've got a plan that fits everyone's needs, and if you can't figure out what is fitting your business needs, then we've got people available to talk to you. And download a free trial. Our trial is free. You can play around with it for 2 weeks, and the beauty of it is that a lot of people are able to set up Desk.com in just a matter of hours. And so play around with it. I think that's one of the best advice I can give to anyone that is new and don't really know what Desk.com is all about, is to just go in there and really feel and touch the product. And Jonathan, something you brought up, the flex agent pricing model. That's something that a lot of our customers are using, and they're super happy about it. A lot of customers are not only using it as a seasonality functionality where it's cost savings. They don't need a full-time agent to log in all the time. But something else that they're doing is being able to have other people on their team interact with customers and really get that feedback. And so, for example, with someone like a product team, where they can get instant feedback from the customer on their product and then take that intelligence and feed it back into the product roadmap. The same can be said for marketing, where a marketing person can log into Desk.com, really hear and feel what customers are talking about, what the latest trends are, what the latest topics are, what problems are, and then they can feed it back into their marketing programs. So I think Flex Agent is definitely a differentiator and a functionality that a lot of our customers are using and are very happy with. Looks like we've got a few other questions. Cool. What are your average time for answering emails, and what is your goal? Jonathan, do you want to take that one?
Sure. I would say in the simplest form, as soon as possible. We try to get an instant response. We try to prioritize emails, and this is another thing that you could do in Desk, is you can assign on a number scale what the value is for the priority. So, for instance, if you think that your emails that come through are generally going to be a little bit more pressing than a Facebook message, you can prioritize the email over the Facebook message and customize the way each agent views their dashboard to put those things in priority. That's really great for us because even though it's nice to have everything in one window, if you're like me, once you get more than like 10 or 15 messages in an inbox, you start to get a little bit cluttered, a little bit scattered. So to be able to prioritize those things as they come in, it's great. You can add keywords so that it'll look for certain terms and you'll see those as a higher priority. I really like that a lot. But in terms of our general policy for email response, we get back to them as soon as possible. If we happen to get a really tricky question, that's where we'll jump in and make sure that they know that we're working on it. We try to have all the answers, but we get curveballs thrown at us all the time. And we don't want to let anybody sit for too long and think that we didn't hear their message. For a lot of people, once they hit send on that email, they're thinking, hey, I've got to hear back from this quick. It's like when you text somebody and you wonder, hey, why didn't you text me back? And it was like, maybe 15, 20 minutes and you're wondering why you haven't heard back. That's the way people communicate now. It's instant. So we try to be as instant as we possibly can. We have seen an improved turnaround time on our emails just by organizing things with Desk. So I can say that for sure. But one thing that we haven't talked about is that we're very new Desk users. We just launched it a little bit earlier this year, and we're still customizing it, and we're still working it into a redesign of our website. So I would probably be able to have some information by the end of the year with raw numbers to show how it's improved, but it has improved already.
Mm-hmm. And to piggyback on that, you use Desk.com to handle all customer contacts directly in Desk.com, email, chat, Twitter, Facebook, from all channels?
Yeah, we have everything feeding into our Desk.com dashboard. And the only thing that doesn't would be our phone calls. Those ring directly in through our 800 number and then get assigned out to whoever might need to take that call. But we do have a call processing service that will do our voicemail transcriptions and stuff, and all of those also come into Desk. Any e-faxes or voicemails, those show up in Desk as well.
Mm-hmm. And I know in the beginning of the presentation we used the word authenticity. So authenticity to you, Jonathan, is that more the brand that you've helped get the company build, or how is Desk.com allowing you to deliver that authenticity to your customer at scale?
We try to be as honest with everybody as possible, and I think people can get a sense of that in the way that we communicate with our clients. We're straightforward. If we do have an issue, we own up to it quickly and offer solutions as fast as we can. We found that even being able to deal with problems faster, if there is a problem, the quicker that we can get back to that person with a solution, the better chance we have of retaining them as a client. We've even had some people who, after working through some issues with us, have felt even more connected to us. It's like you kind of go through that fire a little bit together and you come out stronger. That can happen with your relationships with your clients. So even if you're having an issue, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. You're not going to lose the client. You just have to fix it and make them feel comfortable with you again. That feeds into the authenticity. The other thing is we make a tangible product, but we're using technology to the fullest to make acquiring that tangible product easier for our clients. So that's kind of a challenge when people are working with manufacturing and production and creating with their hands, is how to bridge that gap between today's technological world and then some of these more old-fashioned methods. I mean, we're applying ink to cloth. That's it at its rawest form. We feel that that's a very authentic process. It's why we still do actual screen printing. But we need to make sure that people understand that's what we're doing, and then are also getting that, what we feel are kind of old-fashioned customer service values. Overall, we've just found that being as straightforward and honest with clients and getting back to them as fast as possible helps us remain that authenticity.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jonathan. So unfortunately, we're running out of time here. There are a few more questions that have come in. Jonathan, I'll make sure those get forwarded to you, and we'll do our due diligence and get back to our attendees after this webinar. But in closing, thank you so much for the story, all the expertise, everything that you've shared with us today.
Absolutely. Glad to do it.
Yep. And again, you can always connect with Jonathan or myself on Twitter. And we'll also send out a follow-up email after this webinar so you can all get connected with us. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.